Hey YouTube, Time Itself here. There have been a lot of comments about the shorter time to kill in Battlefield Hardline compared to Battlefield 3 and 4, and how some possible issues with the Frostbite engine might affect the quality of the game. While that certainly is a concern, I think some of it is misunderstood, so let's talk about time to kill. Time to kill, or TTK, is a very basic calculation you can do to try to compare the effectiveness of different weapons. All that's taken into account is the damage and rate of fire of the weapon. To be precise, time to kill is the time between when the first shot hits and when the shot that kills hits. So one-shot kill weapons like sniper rifle headshots or shotguns have time to kill of 0. It's fairly similar to a DPS calculation, except that because it takes so few shots to kill in these modern military shooters, DPS isn't really useful. The major issue is that if you miss a shot, suddenly you have to worry about how long it takes for that follow-up shot to come. Then you've got the fact you'll also be doing some amount of overkill damage. And so, TTK is not the end-all be-all of stats when comparing weapons. It's just one thing that might be useful. I mean, the calculation assumes 100% accuracy. We know that's not realistic. We just have to make a whole bunch more assumptions if we wanted to do something else, and suddenly you're in another big mess. TTK is useful, but it's not everything. TTK is just one aspect of many different variables that go into tuning a game so that it plays well. Everything from player movement speed to the accuracy of the weapons to the size of the map all comes into play. But for example, let's start at time to kill. What else is going to impact how long it takes to kill someone? You've got accuracy, obviously, we talked about that, but you've also got ADS time. You have sprint out time, how long it takes to go from sprinting to being able to aim your gun. Those are variables too, and they affect how long it's going to take you to kill someone. And I hear some people say that a higher time to kill requires more skill, and while I agree that getting on target and staying on target, compensating for recoil, burst firing, those are useful skills, they are not the only skills. While not exactly the same, randomness in games can play a similar role. For example, in poker, you can play a single hand, and there's a lot of randomness involved. But you don't play just a single hand, you play the entire game to decide who actually wins. Whereas in an FPS game, you play for not just a single kill, but a whole bunch of kills the entire game. Now, you might introduce more randomness or luck in an individual kill if it takes fewer shots. I'm not convinced, but let's say for the sake of argument you do. You're still going to play the entire game, and the better player should still win out. And in the FPS world, we might wonder why hardcore mode tends to mean very low health, and why pro players aren't playing on servers where players have lots of health. But that's not where this video is going. Instead, I want to talk about this idea that somehow having a longer time to kill is going to alleviate some issues or minimize some issues with server netcode or low tick rate. So that everyone's on the same page, let's mention what tick rate is. There are actually two tick rates involved normally: how often the players send their data to the server, and how often the server sends its data back out to all the players. It's just a standard aspect of multiplayer games that it takes a while for someone's actions to show up on some other player's screen. That's to be expected. And because everyone's seeing slightly different versions of everything, the server ends up having to resolve those differences, and what you end up being told actually happened may not quite line up with what you think happened, and that causes some unhappiness among players, understandably. A major complaint that I find somewhat misplaced is that you can actually be hit by multiple bullets that all happen to be updated at the same time, and you don't feel the individual hits. It feels odd, but from a gameplay perspective, you still got hit by all those bullets, and it's just being weird about how it tells you. Also, a low tick rate can increase the apparent latency in the game, just because on average the player and the servers are waiting longer between sending updates. Things like how far you can run around that corner and actually still be dead because the guy shot you on his screen, and that's just how long it took to update. And it means it's a bit easier to do funny things in gunfights, like kill trades, where both players think they killed the other person while they were still alive, and the server resolves that with a kill trade. Okay, so does just straight up increasing time to kill resolve anything? Well, no, you still got the same amount of time where you could be running around a corner and thinking you're going to make it when you're actually dead and it just hasn't updated on your screen yet. In a head-to-head gunfight, you've still got the same window of time where both players could kill trade because of that low tick rate. To put it another way, if you increase the time to kill to like almost 2 seconds, something like Destiny, well, if both people see each other at the same time, have the same accuracy, for example, 100%, and just keep firing away at each other, it doesn't matter how long it takes to kill actually, they're going to fall over dead at the same time. Just making it a more protracted gunfight doesn't really resolve the issue. What doesn't resolve this issue is increasing time to kill, it's increasing the variation in how long it takes to kill people. Time to kill deals with things like, is it a good idea to try to run across the street, or will I get winged by a stray bullet and not get behind cover on the other side? Or how important it is to stay on target, compensate for recoil, burst fire, or track a moving target. Longer times to kill do give players an opportunity to actually do things after the gunfight is started. Normally in Call of Duty, as soon as you get in a gunfight, you are dead, and that's not always the case in the Battlefield series. But if the times to kill are too long, then both players are always going to end up hurt, aren't they? And then you're penalizing the winner of the gunfight in their next gunfight just for something that happens normally in the game. Also, do you like being in a gunfight, knowing that you're going to be dead and there's nothing you can do to change that? And you're not going to be able to kill the other guy no matter what you do? Oh wait, Battlefield has that, it's tanks versus infantry. Most modern military shooters also give an advantage to the first player to get a shot on target. You've got flinch in Call of Duty and Battlefield. When you get hit with a bullet, your gun jumps up, your aim goes off, and the latency for how long that takes to happen can be weird, but that is an advantage to shooting first. You've also got suppression in Battlefield. The first person to get shots, even near the other guy, is going to have an advantage in that gunfight. Longer times to kill also advantage team fire. There's another thing. If you've got long times to kill, the weapons tend to be pretty accurate to kind of counterbalance that. And then it turns not only into making your shots, but trying to move around and make the other guy miss. But in modern military shooters, especially Battlefield, you want to stay behind your cover because making yourself a smaller target is usually the best way to make the other guy miss. You've also got the fact that in Battlefield, moving around decreases your accuracy. So if you increase the time to kill too much in Battlefield, you end up with two people just kind of sitting behind cover shooting at each other. And I mean, I guess that's realistic, but it might not be the most fun thing to do. I hope the point I'm trying to get across is clear. When it comes to dealing with questionable netcode, low server tick rates, just making it take longer to kill someone isn't going to resolve that issue. It's increasing the variation in how long it takes to kill someone so that skill can be an actual factor. Otherwise, you're just looking at reaction time. If that happens before the gunfight, good positioning, being ready, not sprinting around corners in stupid ways, choosing a weapon with a fast sprint out and ADS time like an SMG if you're going to be in close range combat, or picking a weapon that's more suited to the range you're going to be fighting at. For example, a DMR if you're going to be quite a ways out. Then you'll have the advantage and you'll win that gunfight, and the server tick rate will never be a question of why you won or what happened there. I hope you found the video interesting, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.